Hi, grade 3. Today for writing, we're going to apply what we were thinking about in maps in social studies when we were learning about maps. On the blog, you're going to see that there's a link to today's virtual learning plan, and I'm going to scroll down to the writing workshop, which is here. It says CCU Changing the World Writers Workshop. This is a 2-day writing task. That means you're going to start today, and you can finish today if you want, but if you want to pause and finish it tomorrow, that's okay. Remember, in writing, we're focusing on persuasion. How can you persuade people? The learning goal says learners will use their understandings about maps to write a persuasive essay. Today we will use our understanding about maps to persuade readers why we believe maps are important. So you're probably thinking about the maps that you've been looking at and what is important about them. In green, we have a big writing prompt. It says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Maps are a great example. A picture is worth 1,000 words. First, I have to think about that statement before I can really figure out my opinion. I'm going to try and model how I would think about this using a different statement. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Diagrams are a great example. In trimester 2, we learned about diagrams, and I have a diagram here I want to show you. The diagram says how solar works. And you can see there's a sun, and it's shining onto the solar panel on the frame of a house, and the solar panel is creating energy. And in the picture, there's energy connecting on the wires, and it's connecting into the house, and it's trying to make the fridge and the lamp work. On the diagram as well, there are text boxes explaining steps in the diagram. Now, back to our lesson, it says, do you agree or disagree? Persuade your reader. Give at least 3 reasons to support your opinion. Then it says, also consider these questions. Now, the questions are really helping me with my thinking, so I'm going to focus on the first one. What is important about this? Well, when I think about diagrams, I think, gosh, this is telling me a lot of information. So much information that if I were to explain how solar panels work, I'd talk and talk and talk and have to use a bunch of technical language, and it would be really, really hard to explain. But the diagram in one simple picture helps to show how this works. The diagram is saving me the exhaustion of using words to explain. So I'm going to kind of use that to formulate my opinion. I think, yes, diagrams are worth 1,000 words. The picture, the diagram, is worth 1,000 words. That's my opinion. That's the next question. It says, what is my opinion on this topic or situation? Because these questions are helping me, I wrote them down on this piece of paper. I wrote, persuade me. That's my title. I should have put it on the first line. I regret that mistake. I wrote the question prompt. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Diagrams are a great example. Then I wrote the questions from here. What is important about this? Well, like I just told you, they provide a lot of details that you would have to say. So the picture is helping me save words. I could explain more, but this is just my thinking template. This is just a place for me to write boxes and bullets about my idea. The next question says, what is my opinion on this topic or situation? I agree. Some of you might not agree that diagrams are a great example of a picture is worth 1,000 words, but I do agree. So now it's my job to persuade you to agree as well. How can I convince others to believe the same? I was thinking about the solar panel example. I might describe in my writing how if I used words to describe how solar panels worked, it would be a lot of work for me. But if I showed a diagram, it would explain that thinking very simply. So I'm going to use that in my writing. The last one, and these are the same bullets on the lesson, it says, do I have a personal story that I can tell about this? I think most of you know my son Theo. He's in grade 1. Theo has always been curious about animals. And one time he wanted to learn about fish and how fish swim and how their bodies are different than ours. And I started to tell him about gills and fins and the anatomy of the fish. And Theo looked at me with a big question mark on his face saying, I don't know what you're talking about. So then I thought, I could describe and describe and describe, but Theo might not get this without a diagram. So I drew the fish and I labeled the gills and I labeled the fins, and suddenly he started to understand. That's my personal story, and it's going to help me argue my point. So I just wrote an idea here, fish, to remind myself of what I'm going to write about. Then I started writing. Now, before I show you what I wrote, I want to talk to you about the lesson. It says, this persuasive writing will go in your CCU journal. Remember to put the date and Persuade Me UG2 at the top of your page. If you have your CCU writing journal at home, please do that. If you don't, you can use lined paper like Miss Tara did. It also says, use these useful sentence starters and view the example on Seesaw Activity to help you write. So if you're not sure how to use your thinking template and to write into full paragraphs, there are sentence starters here that will help you. Okay, now I'm going to read you what I wrote. And when I wrote mine, I used all of the examples that I jotted down that I just showed you. It says, Persuade Me, UG2, March 11th, 2020. Diagrams are a great example of a type of picture that is worth 1,000 words. Exclamation point. This is my thesis. This is what I'm trying to argue, what I'm trying to persuade the reader to believe. Once I was teaching my son Theo about the parts of a fish, such as the gills and fins. Theo was so confused about these fish parts, so I decided to draw a fish and label the parts to make a diagram. This helped him understand and saved me from explaining and using so many words to describe what the picture showed. Diagrams help us see details in an image that would have been difficult to see in a photograph and difficult to explain with words. Imagine how you would explain to someone how solar panels work. You would need to describe so many parts and use so many technical words to describe it. You would want the reader to visualize the process. Instead of using so many words to describe such a function, a diagram helps to show everything in one picture. That's my essay. I hope I persuaded you that diagrams are worth 1,000 words. Can you persuade your teachers? Your job is to think about maps, not diagrams, and to use what you've learned about maps to write a persuasive essay. Remember to start with a strong thesis, your opinion, and use convincing arguments inside your writing. You can start today and you can try and finish tomorrow. Don't forget when you take pictures to post on Seesaw to take really clear photographs so that we can read all the parts and give you strong feedback. Photograph every single page and make sure on your Seesaw activity you add a response, and for each picture you'll do a different page so it's really easy to read. All right, good luck writers. Please contact your teacher with questions. Bye.